Hey, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm actually meeting two authors that I'm very excited to meet. This is my first double author event at Anderson's. I am very excited. I was supposed to meet one of these authors in Washington, D.C., but unfortunately I was sick and I could not go. So I was really thankful that Anderson's was able to get this author there, and I'm excited to meet another author who maybe I'm gonna be like a fan of and be one of my auto-buy authors. We'll just have to see. So the two authors that I'm meeting tonight are Julie Soto, who is the author of Forget Me Not and Not Another Love Song. I believe that's the title of the new book. I really should know it more, than that, but I just recently listened to Forget Me Not, so I feel like I'm not into the Julie Soto world yet. I know she does fan fiction because my friend said that she actually took her bound fan fiction to get signed by Julie, that she bound herself, so that's really cool. And then the second author that I'm meeting is Ashley Poston, the author of The 7-Year Slip and The Dead Romantics and A Novel Love Story. I think there's others that she's written too, but those are the main three that come to mind for me. And you can clearly see that I have pre-bought these physical editions because I thought I was going to get both signed. That makes this the first little road bump in this author event, and believe me, there are a few. I was reading the email that Anderson sent, and you are only allowed to have one other book signed by each author, which with Julie I don't think is that terrible. I think she only has one traditionally published book out, obviously fan fictions and whatnot before, and I am getting her second book included in my ticket, so I think I'm gonna have all of Julie's signed, but that means I have to choose between these two, and I've been thinking about it all day which one I would rather have Ashley Poston sign, and realistically, I think I have to go with The Dead Romantics being signed. This book cried. Very few books have made me cry during my almost 2 years of this book social media journey, so I feel like this just has a special place in my heart, so I'm going to bring this one. Am I still going to bring The 7-Year Slip? Probably will. I may as well just throw it in my bag. It doesn't hurt just to have them. So since I'm holding Ashley's books, we'll talk a little bit about Ashley Poston first. To me, she is a romance writer that always has these heart-wrenching, deeper level and a little bit of magical, mystical vibes to her books. With The Dead Romantics, you're following Florence, who is a ghostwriter for a very popular author, and there is a new boss at the agency that she works at, and she suddenly gets called home because her dad tragically passes away. Florence is able to see ghosts, and so while she's home, she's hoping to see the ghost of her dad, but she actually sees the ghost of her boss. And so she and her boss, Benji, have to work together to help, Benji cross over. That's kind of been her job, but they develop a mythical kind of relationship along the way. So I really enjoyed this book. It was a 4.5 out of 5 stars just because it was a little slow for me, but again, it did make me cry. It wasn't even the main plot that made me cry, and I feel like I'm gonna tell Ashley this tonight. It was one of the subplots that just made me burst into tears. So that's how I feel about The Dead Romantics. Her next book, I did give a 5 out of 5 stars, which was The 7-Year Slip. You have Clementine, who inherits this apartment from her aunt after her aunt passes away, and her aunt always had 2 rules in the apartment. 1, leave your shoes at the door, and 2, don't fall in love in the apartment, because the apartment can take you back 7 years in time. And that's what ends up happening to Clementine, but instead of being able to see her aunt 7 years in the past, she meets a man 7 years in the past. And so she's trying to reconcile that relationship in the past with the present day relationship, how that magic is working. And I absolutely love this. I flew through this, ate this up. So I'm extremely excited to see what A Novel Love Story brings. However, I haven't necessarily heard too much about this, so it's going to be really interesting to see what I think about it. I'm hopefully going to at least start reading this book during this video so I can give you a little bit of first impressions. I feel like a lot of people have compared it to Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I loved Funny Story by Emily Henry, so we'll see if that comparison holds true. And then I don't have either of Julie's books in my hand currently, but I did recently listen to Forget Me Not, where you follow Amma, who is a wedding planner, and she has to work with a specific florist who is like her ex-fling named Elliot Bloom, because of course he owns a flower shop. And so you learn all about why their relationship fell apart, and then you start to see how it grows in this current relationship that Amma has. I gave this, I believe, a 4.5 out of 5 stars too. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked the plot twists that were in it. I liked the subplots that were in it. I can't remember why I took a half star off. I feel like maybe because I was a little done with Amma at one point, or I think I was done with Elliot too at one point. Like, they both just took me out of the books a little bit just based off some of their actions. It just didn't make sense to me. I still really enjoyed it, and I'm super excited to meet Julie tonight and have her sign that book. And then of course with Not Another Love Song, I'm guessing it's related because you talk about this cellist at the end of Forget Me Not, and in Not Another Love Song there's a cellist. I'm terrible. I really don't know what either book is about, but that's okay because I usually go into books not knowing what they're about. I actually took a half day off because the doors for the event open at 6 and we're in this like bigger theater, and this gets us to our second roadblock, which is I am number 121. Yep, I've never been over 100 before on a list, but I am signing number 121. So that's really interesting. I've already taken a nap today. It is already, when I looked at my GPS, about a 2-hour drive to where this venue is, because the venue's not at a bookstore because it was too big. So that'll be very interesting. I don't know how late I'm gonna stay there, but I am excited nonetheless, and I am just going to see what this holds. I am going to be sad, I guess, if they don't have Julie Soto's other book there, but typically they have them for sale, and since I want to get there so early, I shouldn't have an issue getting those books. I already have my bag pretty much pre-packed, so let me walk you through what I am bringing to this specific book event. I will be eating dinner out, but I definitely can't go without bringing some snacks. As always, we are using our Anderson bag that I will probably continue to use until all of the writing is gone, which is audiobooks are reading, which is appropriate because I listened to the audiobook of Julie Soto's first book. I'm bringing both of the books. Again, I'm so late in line. Maybe she'll sign both because I'm so late. I don't know. I'm still bringing both, but my first pick is going to be Dead Romantics. If I'm able to get 7 Year Slip signed, great. I have my wireless headphones. I'm currently listening to These Hollow Vows. I have less than 2 hours left of it. It should actually suffice me for my entire drive down to the event, which is exciting. And then I have another book. I forget what the title is, so I will definitely update you later. But then I have another one that I would start on the way back from the author event. But if I'm waiting in line, maybe I'll pop these in. I'm not 100% sure. I have my Kindle, which I actually just got the book Name Your Price by Holly James off of NetGalley today because I saw somebody compare it to a reality TV show, and I just love reality TV show books. They are not a guilty pleasure. Some people might call them that, but I'm very proud of my reality TV show love. So I might even read my Kindle a bit. Again, I don't know how exactly early I'm going to get there, so I want to bring as much as I can. I still have my work phone just in case there is an emergency at work. I am technically off for the day, but I always carry it with me. I'm still having gallbladder issues, so I love these little Rice Krispie things, and this is the apple cinnamon flavor because I love something sweeter near the end of the night, and these are just like sweet enough. I really miss chocolate, but these are good enough for now. I have my biscuit with almond butter again that I brought to the last reading event too. I absolutely love these. And then I'm bringing some popcorn, so super fun little snacks for me. I'm probably gonna devour all of these, especially on the ride back. So I have a few things to do before I start my long drive, but I'm still super excited and grateful to be able to meet Ashley Poston specifically, especially after like everything fell apart last month with my health issues. So I am super excited for this event. I'm curious if I'm going to meet any people there. Again, I'm not the biggest talker or the biggest social person. I usually sit there and read the books like right away. And the Holly James Kindle book comes out at the end of the month, and I like to give my NetGalley reviews before the book is published. So I might want to read that too. I'm not really sure yet, but let's get going to the book event. Hopefully I actually take some clips during the book event instead of just coming back to this setup. But if I came back to this setup, you knew I was probably just really tired after being 121st in line. All right, I am right in front of the venue actually, so I'm really excited. I feel like I got a really good parking spot. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I feel like because I'm looking right at it behind my camera, I'm very close, which will make it very easy to leave. Not like it'll really matter since I'm really late in line. So I'm gonna go walk and get some dinner and then probably come back to my car. I'm probably just gonna eat dinner at the actual Noodles and Company that I plan to eat at. And then I think timing wise, that should still be fine. I'll still be here about an hour before anything starts. And then I can probably just sit in my car and read. So we'll see how that goes. I did finish These Hollow Vows on my way down here. So now I'm starting How to End a Love Story, I believe is the book. And yeah, we'll do that as we wait to get into the author event. All right, it is 15 minutes before the doors open. I had my dinner. I'm filming this with my front-facing camera, my bad. I know my husband would call me out for the camera quality, but oh well, nothing I can do about it. I just don't know. I didn't bring my tripod. Maybe I should start bringing my tripod for book events. I had dinner and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna stop by the Anderson's bookstore. I've been debating getting a membership for a while. Their membership is only $20 and you save like 10% every time you buy something. You save 40% in your birthday month, and with what I bought today, I've already saved $6, so I feel like the membership is going to be worth it for me at least. And I have like 3 more book events already that I have tickets for this year, and I know I want to buy the books related to those book events, and so I'll be able to do that. And then I was in the romance section, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's only one copy of this Julie Soto book, and looking at the venue, I just didn't know if they would actually have books there, so I just bought it ahead of time. I decided to get Forget Me Not in person. Love, love, love. So excited. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I can't wait to have them like side by side once I get the other one. And again, Julie will sign this one, which is good. So very exciting. There was only one book. The bottom is a little damaged, but like, what was I supposed to do? And then in the same section, I saw one of my pre-orders that I really wanted, and I was like, all right, well, let's just treat ourselves today. If like the first day with the membership, you also get 20% off everything you buy. So I was like, all right, that makes sense to me in my head. And this is a pre-order that I've wanted, you know, since the beginning of 2024. And that's Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. So I'm super excited to have this book. I am really pumped to hopefully read this in July. I feel like I haven't read a meant to be book obviously since the last one came out, which was Kiss the Girl, so I'm really excited for this one. And then I bought the membership, so altogether I paid $48.42 for the membership in my 2 books. I feel like that was pretty good, and again, I already know I'm coming back to Anderson's twice in August, once in September at a minimum. I don't know if I'm going to come back for any other events. I hope I am. I just have to like keep my eye out and see what other authors are announced. I listened to 3 chapters of How to End a Love Story. I will remember the title eventually. And it's just very heavy to start with. Definitely check the content warnings before you read it. I can typically handle content warnings, so I was fine with it. It's more like grief driven, I would say, of a content warning, but I'm enjoying it so far. I definitely think it'll keep me awake on my drive back after this book event. And I've been keeping my eye out from my like perfect parking spot. I feel like I can see all the entrances from my parking spot, and yeah, I see one of the Andersons workers pulling up. It's really bad that I recognize them. I feel kind of creepy, but it's like, okay, I see the Andersons people, I see where they're going in. Is that the door that I'm gonna go in? Is that just the door they're using? So I have my eyes out on like all 3 doors that this hall has, so that hopefully when I see somebody start to line up, I don't need to be the first in line, and I don't even want to be the first in line, but I just like to be early enough in line so that I can hopefully get a good seat. So for the next, I don't know how long, I'm at least going to start Name Your Price. I didn't realize that this was the same person that wrote the Deja Glitch, which I think was one of like my first advanced reader copies. So I'm really excited to read Name Your Price. I think I rated the Deja Glitch by the same author like a 4 out of 5 stars. So that's pretty cool. So now that this is like a reality TV show type deal, I feel like I'm going to be even more invested. I just love reality TV books. So I'm glad I actually got some clips, like actually going to the book event, and so we'll see how the book event goes and drive back. I'm really excited to meet them. I am really grateful that I'm here. I know I'm here early, but like the traffic is just gets wild, and I just never can predict it. So let's hope that I am really early in line for the book event, and I will be keeping my eyes out the whole time while I'm reading. I think every time I flip a page, I'll just like look up, see if anybody's already in line, because again, it is a sold out event. If I'm 121, well, you know that there's going to be plenty of other people going to this event. It is the Sunday after meeting Julie Soto and Ashley Poston, and I was very pleased, I feel like, overall with how the event went. Obviously, besides being so late in line, it was a tough drive home. But let me back up to where we initially had left off. So I saw somebody walk into the building from my like great vantage point, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're letting us line up inside. It wasn't necessarily super hot outside, but I wasn't sure. So I went inside and I saw the Anderson staff because I've recognized them from previous book events. And I said, hey, are we lining up inside? Do you need me to line up outside? And they were like, no, line up outside. So I ended up accidentally being first in line, which at an Anderson's event matters for seating, but it doesn't matter for signing. So we waited outside for about, I don't know, like 20 minutes, and then they let us in. We were able to get both books, at least for me. That was with my ticket, being able to get both books. And then I sat pretty much front row, super excited. I had not been to this venue before, and I really liked this venue actually. I don't know if I'm going back to it. I'll have to check some of my tickets, but I really enjoyed the theater setup. I liked being so close. I feel like overall it was a really good view for me. I'm not sure how people on the sides felt in terms of where the chairs were and everything like that, but it doesn't look like there was really a bad view because it still felt like such an intimate theater setting. Julie and Ashley had so much fun talking to each other. It definitely just felt like we were part of their like girls' night slumber party vibes, which was just super, super fun. They ended up raffling off a whole signed like picture board of Not Another Love Song. They did it based off your order line number. I don't know if they're always gonna do that, but I feel like that would be really fun to continue to see. So I think it was number 53 in line got like this signed poster by Julie. And then what was very interesting and exciting was that they told us after Julie and Ashley left the stage is that both authors were going to sign whatever books essentially we wanted. The email had said, right, that you should only bring one book from home. I brought my 7-year slip just in case, and I'm really glad I did. I feel like that's always the lesson of bring other books with you just in case. What's the harm? If we were told to only bring up one book from home, would have done it. I feel like it doesn't hurt as long as you don't mind carrying your extra books. Then as I was waiting in line, and I feel like this is not a usual like book event thing that happens, but the person next to me and I ended up talking, and she actually does Bookstagram, so shout out to Mona, booked_ in Ohio, I believe. I'm doing that from memory. And yeah, we ended up talking for the entire time that we were waiting. Her and her husband were number 115 in line, and I was 121, so we were sitting and talking for a while. And I feel like that was the first time I ever really like talked to somebody else who does book social media like on a book event, and so I felt really grateful. I feel like that's super fun. So hopefully that can continue to happen with other books events to come. We get in line to then sign with Julie and Ashley. With Julie, her and I had a conversation about how I didn't realize her books were spicy, but I feel like the covers make sense. Even though they are cartoon people, obviously, I feel like you get more of those this is more of an adult book vibes from this. I did read a little bit of Not Another Love Song, really not that much, but I think the concept is interesting because you have a girl that knows the guy, but the guy has no clue who the girl is, which is very different than Forget Me Not, where you have a lot of history. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. That's all I'm gonna say about it for now because I haven't read past like page 30. Julie was super fun to meet, but I'm not like a big fan fiction reader, and some people brought like their bound fan fictions from home that they made, because with fan fiction, what I learned is that you're able to bind it yourself, but you're not supposed to make money off of it. So if I do read a fan fiction one day and I really love it, I can learn how to bind the book myself, or if a friend wanted to gift it to me, they could, or if I wanted to gift one to a friend, but there's just not supposed to be an exchange of money related to fan fiction. And that was something that Ashley and Julie both touched on during their conversation. That was one of the questions asked by the audience. So I thought that was a really interesting viewpoint that I wasn't really expecting to get. I will say one rule that they did tell us was that you could only have one book personalized, but Julie did end up personalizing both of my books. So I feel like that's super fun. I wasn't expecting that, but I think that's just super sweet that she was like, I'm just gonna do what I want. So love that. And I am definitely excited to keep up with what she does. She definitely hinted at some other books that were coming out, so I'm super excited to like stay up to date with her. Then we get to meeting Ashley Poston. The Dead Romantics is a book that made me cry last year, and so Ashley and I had a little conversation about that, and I don't know, I just felt more connected after that conversation. I feel like I've seen people cry when meeting authors, and definitely when Ashley and I were talking, I was close to tears. I like showed my husband some of the pictures, and he was like, oh yeah, I can tell you were getting close to crying. So, and she told us that what she really wanted to name the Dead Romantics was Ghost Boners, so she decided to cross out on the inside Dead Romantics and write Ghost Boners underneath all of our books, so I thought that was really fun. Since this was also the book that made me cry, and now I feel like I have an even more special connection to it after talking to Ashley, I'm glad that she personalized this one. She did not personalize the other two, which I feel like totally made sense. There were a lot more books for Ashley to sign compared to Julie, simply because Julie only has 2 traditionally published books, whereas Ashley, I think, has like a plethora of them. So there were a lot more books that Ashley was signing, so definitely makes sense to keep the personalization to one there. But I did get the 7-year slip signed, which I am just super happy about because it was a 5-star read for me. And then we have a novel love story. Again, I have not gotten past page 30, but they talked about the concept a little bit where it's a woman ends up being in the town of her favorite book series. So I'm definitely interested in that. Seems like that magical rom-com vibes that we get. I don't know if I would call these rom-coms because I always get a little emotional during all of them, but I'm definitely excited to see what happens in this book. I would love to say that I'm going to be speed reading these two today on my pretty much like do nothing Sunday, but I have an arc that I need to finish because I got that arc last minute and I didn't realize the timing of it. So that is going to be my focus. If I do finish that arc, I will definitely pick up both of these books. I kind of like reading chapter by chapter and switching between the two. However, I am leaning more towards reading like a few more chapters of a novel love story and then than reading like a chapter of Not Another Love Song, just because the chapter lengths are so different. So overall, I would say it was a really successful Anderson's event, especially with how many people there. They kept us moving, they kept us entertained. I really love the flexibility with the authors at Anderson's being able to change what they want to sign and everything like that. So super grateful. Can't wait to go to 3 more events at least this year. They did hint at some bigger events, but we don't have too many details about that. I did finally purchase an Anderson's membership, so I'm going to get some early access to the events, which I am super excited about. So maybe we'll do more this year, but there are definitely 3 more events that are coming up that I am very excited about, and of course I will take you along with me. Let me know if you've read any books by Ashley or Julie and what your thoughts were. Hopefully I will have finished the books by the time I can read those comments, just in case there are spoilers. I know my friend read both Julie and Ashley's new books and she rated them both 5 stars, so I'm very, very curious to see how these measure up. Next week I will be doing a readathon, which honestly I'm very excited for because I feel like I haven't just sat down and zenned out and read, and I'm definitely excited to do that. And then already we have another author event the week after next, so quite a bit coming up this fall. Pretty excited. And as always, if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, keep reading and I will see you next time.